Quazzy, good morning, good morning. This is Ken at 10. How are you? We talk about property here every day, as many of you will know. If you're new to the channel, then thanks very much for joining us live every day at 10 a.m. talking about all things property. And it's scary out there, isn't it? Interest rates are on the up, the markets are all over the place, and people are really worried. And what do people do when they're worried? They seek out information about what's going on, why it's going on, and what's happening in the broader market. And we like to provide that to you right here at James Alexander, because the important thing in a time of turmoil is people understand what's going on, why it's going on, and where the wider market will go longer term. A couple of things on that. First of all, we expect it to be fairly wild over the next couple of months for obvious reasons until the markets settle down. In the meantime, longer term interest rates are going up. So there are those people that are walking away and saying, well, I'm not going to move now. And that goes for buyers and sellers. And this is bringing down certainly the volume of things that are available to buy and to sell. But the flip side of that coin is, interestingly, some of the people that have a wall of money behind them are moving into the market and they're offering and buying properties. And this is often the way you see the smart money move in when the general population moves one way. They say when your cab driver tells you to do something, you should go the other way. You know, when your cab driver starts talking about Bitcoin, don't buy Bitcoin. When your cab driver starts talking about property, don't buy property. And, you know, we're talking about the reverse of that now, aren't we? And what you need, most importantly, as a seller, is you need an agent that has the confidence, has been through this before, knows what goes on in times of recession. And that's what we're all about here at James Alexander. And certainly with Ken at 10, what we like to do is inform you like it is. You know, you'll get other channels that say, oh, nothing's happening, everything's fine. But no, things are happening. People are renegotiating chains. There are rent increases all over the place. You know, one of the things that we've seen more than anything else recently is a great big wave of rent increases. And it's not landlords being greedy. It's landlords just trying to protect themselves against the massive rises in their borrowing costs. And quite often, we're finding that some of our landlords are actually losing money, even though they're increasing their rents, because the rents that they're increasing might go up by, let's say, £100, but their mortgage payments have gone up by more than this. So everybody's trying to protect themselves. And of course, this is inflationary. Everything goes up a little bit. But what happens in inflationary times? Ultimately, everybody has to get more money because things cost more. And then the multiples people can get on their mortgages rely on their salaries. And as interest rates calm down, what will happen is that eventually there will be an equalization there. In the meantime, what we're finding is stock markets are in turmoil. They're all over the place. Property is still solid. It was right the way through the pandemic and still is today. If you have an investment in property and you're renting it out, you're getting that income, that has not changed, unless you're at the end of your term, in which case rents have gone up. So you are in a position where property is a really solid bricks and mortar, tangible asset, unlike stock market investments, which can be very volatile up and down. And this is why I don't think you should have all of your money in property, and this is not financial advice, but I do think everybody should have an investment in bricks and mortar, because in times of turmoil, there is no better place to have your money. And that's what we're finding right now, isn't it? With rents rising, that's a protection they have against inflation. Plenty of our landlords are actually retired, and they're taking that income as a pension. And that pension is now increasing because rents are increasing with inflation. So they've got some protection. Probably doesn't protect them against the whole amount of inflation, but certainly more than cash in the bank or under the cushion. The other thing that you need in these kind of times is you need somebody that understands marketing. And I'm not just talking about chucking it on Rightmove and Zoopla. I'm talking about things like this, going live, explaining what's happening out there in an honest sense, and talking to people about the market and reassuring them about what's good, what's bad, and what's different. One thing's for sure, in the medium term, property always wins. In the short term, you will have fluctuations. When people look back on their purchase over any 5-year term, I don't know anyone that's ever said, oh, wow, I wish I hadn't bought then at that price. Because over a 5-year plus term, these things tend to come out in the wash. And that's what I suspect now. At the moment, we're in a very volatile time in terms of interest rates. The pound is very low. What does that also mean? It means that to foreign money, we're looking very cheap. So we can expect central London to start rising again on the back of investments from dollar-based countries such as Saudi Arabia, such as America. So it'd be really interesting. And of course, we've got China as well. There'll be a lot of Chinese looking at our currency as cheap as well, because they rely a lot on the dollar too. So it'd be really interesting to see how it pans out over the next few months. We'll certainly report live from the coalface, as it were. But so far, so good. People are still out there viewing. Things are still coming on the market. They are fewer and further between. And yes, a lot of them are death, debt, and divorce, the 3 Ds, as we call them. Sadly, that's a lot of the reason why people are selling right now. But there are others that are at the end of their situation with buy-to-let. Perhaps they're geared very highly, it no longer works for them, or they've just frankly had enough of constant new regulation coming out or disincentives from a tax perspective. We've had that conversation many times, so I'm not going to go there. That's it for today. We're back tomorrow with another edition. Until then, hope you have a fantastic day. Take care of yourselves, and if you can, your family and friends. Ciao.